Yeah, I suppose oddly, probably Jordan. Speaking to Jordan Peterson is.
Oh yeah, really? That recently?
It's just it's another obvious milestone, right?
Sure.
It's just another. Okay, that's A grade, whale level guest. Probably
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the most sought after podcast guests on the planet, and
Yeah, it must
I
be, right? Yeah.
I think I've got as good of a conversation out of him as anyone ever. And that was something that I really wanted. I knew that previously when Jordan goes to see Rogan and he sits down in his studio and Joe's got Jamie with him and this beautiful studio and a nice audiovisual setup and they've spent all afternoon together and blah, blah, blah. There's an unfair competitive advantage there and they've got an existing relationship. I was really looking forward to this opportunity for Jordan to do his rounds on his tour because I knew that everybody had the same thing. Yeah, Lewis Howe's got 2.5 hours and I got 1.5. Yeah, maybe Tom Bilyeu's spoken to him before. Yeah, maybe Brett Weinstein's got an existing relationship with him. But broadly, it's just a level playing field. And I was like, all right, gloves are off. Like, let's see who can get the best conversation out of this guy. Just using the raw horsepower that you've got, brain to mouth. Same setup. It doesn't matter about the camera. It doesn't matter about the microphone. It doesn't matter about young Jamie being there. No one's using researchers. There's no one in anyone's ear feeding them stats. That's it. And I wanted that. I was hungry for that. I was like, I want to prove to people, I want them to hear that given the same foundation, I can be better than the best in the world at my chosen pursuit. And I think I did it. I genuinely think that conversation with Jordan, for the topic that I wanted to get out of him, which was personal responsibility, identity change, empowering yourself, I don't think he's had many better conversations about that. Now, that's not necessarily due to me. It was his words. But,
Obviously.
the conductor makes the music go.
Yes, precisely.
So
man's got infinite wealth in him, but you brought out the wealth you wanted to see on that particular day, which might have been elsewhere.
So yeah, the imposter syndrome thing, it just gets ground down over time, But you have to prove it to yourself. It's taken 315 episodes for me to get to the stage where I can be confident going into a conversation like that. And this is another thing as well. A lot of people, because of the reality TV world and the fact that people can be plucked out of normality and just given fame for existing, basically, for tweeting a thing or for taking a photo of a thing or whatever. Because of that, we forget that fame is actually supposed to be earned. Previously, you would have been famous for doing something, not just for being someone.
Sure.
Fame wasn't an end in itself. Fame was a byproduct of something that you'd achieved. But at the moment, that's changed. People get famous. It's literally for nothing. And what you have to remember, if you are that person that's grinding away, that's doing hard things, that's cultivating a craft, you're a designer, you're a coder, you're an artist, you're a musician, you're a whatever it is, you're a mum, all of those little iterations are the difference between you and the person that wants to just be plucked out of obscurity and given some sort of talent. If you'd decided to give me Jordan Peterson when I'd done 50 episodes, I'd have fucked it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have been able to create... No way would I've... Dude, I was nowhere near the level of podcaster that I am now then. At all. I'm sure I would have prepped hard and got a semi-okay episode out.
Sure.
But it's like saying, the bodybuilder when he's 18 versus the bodybuilder when he's 25. Like, evidently, once he's spent more time working on his craft, he's going to be better. And this is, for the people that are grinding away and do feel like, well, I'm doing things that are virtuous, I'm taking my time with these things, the opportunities will come. And if you stay ready, then you're going to be able to take advantage of them when they arise. And that was something that I really felt like a nice sort of culmination with Jordan. And, yeah, I think it's a nice little microcosm lesson that other people can learn from too.
What you said at the end that makes a lot of sense, and is something that I think has been spoken about in certain circles of Twitter, I guess, which circles you're a part of. But this idea of like the serendipity vehicle, the idea of doing something can expose you to that piece of serendipity that can then go project and be that little moment that gives you the big opportunity, which you can then either take advantage of or fail with completely. Do you think that your interview with Jordan Peterson was serendipitous, or do you think rather it was just like it's almost earned after a period of time? Because he is obviously doing the rounds on a book, and I suppose he has his own financial incentive to go on a platform that has X amount of followers is the wrong word, X amount of downloads versus say, another podcast that doesn't, So do you see it as serendipity, or do you see it as earned?
I think it's
having Jordan Peterson.
I think it's somewhere in between. I think that kind of the dark truth of guest booking for podcasting is that the podcasts that get the most plays aren't necessarily the best ones. There are up-and-coming podcasters who are absolute monsters, but the same as that, there's a garage band somewhere or a local singer who would crush American Idol or Pop Factor or whatever, The Voice. They'd absolutely annihilate it, but they're not in that situation. So should they be there? Are we existing solely on merit? Like, is it literally just the best conversation wins? And it's not. It's somewhere in between. You need to get yourself through the gate. And this is why my view on fame has become increasingly more nuanced recently. I don't like the fact that you can become famous for nothing, despite the fact that I was part of that ecosystem with Love Island. And I think that's why I'm allowed to say it, right? Because I can criticize it from within the trench. I don't like the fact that you can become famous for nothing, but fame is a very useful vehicle. Some of the best things that I've done throughout my life have happened because I'm famous or because people know who I am. Like, it will never get boring being walked to the front of a thing and put through a velvet rope by someone. And it means that you have further access. So Jordan came on the show in part due to the fact that I've been mates with Mick for 2 years. So I'm good friends with Michaela, but he still wasn't going to come on a show that didn't have the requisite number of plays and wasn't going to be with a competent interviewer and all the rest of the stuff. So if that's not a perfect example of luck/contacts plus preparation/grind, like, that's literally it coming together there. And then think about the network effect. So Shane Parrish from FS.blog, he's coming on soon. Michio Kaku, the physicist, he's coming on soon.
Oh yeah, nice.
Like, all of these different people that you get, the reason that people feel uncomfortable about power laws is that it really does feel like the Matthew principle in effect, right? From those who have everything, more will be given. From those who have nothing, more will be taken.
The rich get richer.
Yes, precisely. Or the podcasts get podcastier. Like, you end up having this, you have the guys that do the rounds across these same big shows. You know that Lewis Howe's School of Greatness is going to get them. You know that Tom Bilyeu and Impact Theory is going to get them. You know that Brett Weinstein's Dark Horse is going to get them. You know they're probably going to go on Rogan. You know that Lex Friedman might get them if he's got time, and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But they deserve that, because not only do they have the reach, but they perform awesome podcasts. And this is the same for everything. It's like, you can shit talk 6ix9ine as much as you want, but when that guy can drive hundreds of millions of plays in hours, like, if you can get yourself to that stage and he's still being picked over you, then you have perfect reason to say this shouldn't be the case. But my dad has this quote. He's not a massively sort of wisdom-based guy. He's very much a spit and sawdust sort of dude. But he has this quote where he says, "Form is temporary, class is permanent." And I think that really kind of shows through.
Yeah.
Over time, you can only be good for so long before people have to start taking notice of you. Because everybody wants to be associated with success. They want to be They want to be the person holding on to the outside of the coattails of the rocket that's going to Mars, right? Like, that's essentially what Twitter is. It's just people investing. It's an early version of BitClout. It's just people investing themselves into I followed him when he only had 10,000 followers, and now he's got 1 million. Like, I was listening to Naval, reading his blog, well before AngelList started, and blah blah blah. So, yeah, you have to put yourself in the right situations to take advantage of these opportunities.